Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of The Garden of Ethan. Title work in progress. In my recent reaction to Good Omens, I did pose the question because they had a quick snippet of the Garden of Eden in that show, and I was like, you know, I've been thinking about doing a podcast, and also I had this name in mind, and I said it, I was like, what do people think of the Garden of Ethan? And I got a couple of good responses, really. So I was kind of like, well, if some people kind of like it, enjoy it, think it's kind of funny, I should go with it. Still a work in progress. It borderlines that complete duality between kind of funny. Like, it's a good pun. You're like, oh, I respect what he was going for. And slight to serious cringe. So I sit on it, and every time I think about it, I'm like, Garden of Ethan. Ooh, I kind of like, it's fun. It just like has this like naturey feel, even though I'm in a room with literally no nature at all. But I was like, it has that coolness. Like, I in my mind, I was like thinking about where this podcast could go if like takes off. I was like, wow, merch would be cool. It'd be nature themed. And I was like, ooh, but it's also kind of, you know, when you think of something and you're like, is that kind of cringe or really cool? That is the struggle I'm internally doing with the name of this. I both love it, and I'm also on the other line of, is it good or not? But welcome, nonetheless, to The Garden of Ethan, episode 1. This is a new format for me. First of all, hello and welcome. My name is Ethan. This is a podcast. Secondly, if you're here from my YouTube channel, which I assume you are, and / this will be on as well, hello and welcome. Nice to see you again. If I put this on any other platform or something and someone finds it somehow or is just new, hello and welcome. I am Ethan. I usually make reaction content, watching movies, TV shows, anime. We read books. We're doing books at the moment too, which is absolutely really fun. But that's a little blurb of me. But this format is a bit different. So we're trialing it out. We're seeing how we go. I've always wanted to do a podcast ever since they became kind of a thing. I thought they were really fun. I have no problem talking for a very long time. If you have watched any of my Red, White, and Royal Blue reaction book club series, we definitely know that I can go on and on and on non-stop pretty easily. But that is all focused on one particular topic. So we're gonna see how I do, because we're here, we're doing and experiencing this together. Also, I keep looking into the camera. Hello, camera. But if this does go up on some different sites or different outlets, I realize that a podcast, you don't usually get to see the person. So if you're only hearing me, hello, you can't see me. I look like a person. So there, that can be in your mind if you need it. I will plug a social. Follow me on YouTube. I'm assuming that's where we'll get it from. But links will be below, and I have a Twitter if you'd like to follow me there. But yes, we're trying the podcast. Now, I have said previously, format, new thing to me. I've got some ideas of what I'd want to do. Obviously, on the podcast I have listened to, that is not obvious to anyone else. I don't know why I said obviously. But in the podcast I listen to and like to listen to, the people I listen to just talk about their life. What's going on, what's happened in that week. But a lot of people that do content live in really interesting places. A couple of the people I listen to, they live in, I'm assuming, Los Angeles. It seems from the way they live their life that every time they step outside their door, something crazy something absurd, crazy, they see a star, I don't know. Things happen and you go, how is this a regular occurrence on a day-to-day for literally any person? Like, that is, you live a life of absolute craziness, and it is amazing to listen to. I have my weird interactions every now and then, and I hope this will now be a new outlet to actually tell it, because sometimes I sit on things, I'm like, I have to tell someone about this, and I never get to. So a notes page will be dedicated in my phone to now writing down where I do get myself into some weird, not too like crazy scenarios, but as a highly anxious person, I make things a lot worse than they could be a lot of the time. Any general interaction with possibly any other human being, especially when they're working somewhere and I have to interact with them, I am horrid. And I know a lot of other people are too. But sometimes I can just say the most weirdest, outlandish things that I feel like have devastated the conversation and probably has no impact on the other person's life. I'm not saying anything bad or anything, just sometimes I say something in what I would call an ethenism, like something that's weird and semi-unique to me just being a weirdo, and they probably don't even pick up. Does anyone else do that? You just say weird things and you're like, oh no, I've been the absolute strangest they're going to talk about me for days. They probably have no fucking... They do not care in the absolute slightest what is going on with you. You're just another person. But so we've got those things. We've got the things that happen in my daily life that I'd love to talk about. So I've got like a couple of things written down today. I actually prepared for once. Look at me go. I am fantastic. We'll also get a lot of that, me hyping myself up, because you need to. We'll preach self-love. I would always preach it. I don't know why I'm saying that like in sarcasm. Gotta love yourself. But other things. Some of the things that I just think about and want to talk about. We've got another couple of those, just like general broad topics, things that happen that spark an interest. And then there's also other things like drama of the week, fun things like, you see something on Twitter, the amount of drama that happens in the world that is just like absolute nothing actually that interesting. But things happen and I see them on Twitter. I'm not calling it X, on Twitter, and I want to talk about with people, and none of my friends have absolutely any interest whatsoever. And I go, I need an outlet for this. So, starting now, if we vibe, I'll start writing down things in my notes. If something good happens in the week that I want to talk about with people. And yeah, that's basically it of what I'm thinking is going to go on. So I'll go into my different topics. But the only other thing I want to say, which I'll reiterate later, is I would love any ideas of any sort of formatting, things you'd like me to talk about, questions you have for me, topics you want me to cover. I'd love them. So leave them down below on whatever platform we're on. I really should have looked into what platforms I would put this on, but probably YouTube. So let me know. Let me know anything you'd like to hear or see me talk about. I feel like most topics won't be off limit, but obviously I'm gonna, I have some, you wouldn't think so, but I have some sort of integrity not to go. I'm a fairly open book. The book is open at, let's see, a 170 degree angle. If we're doing a flat book, I'm explaining it with my hands, so go watch on YouTube if you'd like to see that. But I'm mostly open of a book. Not flat, but mostly open. But let's talk about what's been going on with. First of all, how are you today? This week? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a fantastic week. If not, I hope I can provide some sort of comfort and we can have a bit of a chat. And you can just put me on in the background and drown me out and just let my voice, mind-numbingly annoy you until I am the problem of your week and everything else seems better. Oh my god, I love being mean to myself. But what have I been doing this week? Recently, I have decided to get up early. Oh my gosh, I hear you say, is hell frozen over? What's happening? You poor thing. Thank you. It's been rough. No, but for real, I've been getting up early to be going to the gym. I used to do it at night with my housemate, but, if anyone goes to the gym, if you can relate with me on this one, having the gym at the end of the day is such a, like, it's a mind-numbing task to finish a day of work and just being like, ugh, I still have to go, like, do something. And, like, obviously, you don't have to do it. And it's for myself. Like, no one's forcing me to go. But I think, ugh, the gym. Like, I already worked hard, and now I have to work hard just to, like, try and, like, keep up my own fitness, which I like, and try and build muscle, yada, yada, yada. But I just skipped too many. You get in that mode where you're like, you skip one thing. And I think it happens with anything, really. You skip one appointment, one, like, gym session, one thing, and then you just, like, rationalize it. You're like, well, if I skip one, I can skip two. If I can skip 2, 4, 8 times tables, and then eventually you're like, I'm never going again. So that was happening, and I thought the only way that we can realistically keep going and not skipping is going in the morning. And luckily, we're not in winter anymore, we're in spring, going into summer, so at least it's getting warmer, because there's no way I'm getting up at 6 a.m. in winter, because it's absolutely too freezing. It's usually cold. It's usually sometimes raining. I live in Melbourne, Australia. Fun fact if you didn't know. We have decently cold winters. Now, I know, compared to some parts of the world, not cold at all. I understand that, and I empathize with you in your freezingness of your own country. But we have some, like, winters can be pretty cold. I remember some mornings in high school, I'd, like, look at the, like, temperature. I'd be walking, like, into my high school. It'd be like 101 degrees, like, on a really bad day. Usually it's, like, it could be like 4 to 14 degrees Celsius we're talking about. Sorry, Americans. You'll have to Google it, because I always have to Google it when American people talk about Fahrenheit. I'm like, no idea. But I'd be walking in, and in high school, everyone in my high school only wore shorts, so you could see how, like, cold we would be. Also, uniform school, we all had shorts. Same shorts, but freezing nonetheless. Anywho, so getting up for the gym. It's not going to be as cold. It's still a bit brisk in spring, and obviously getting up at that time is cold. But as we go into summer, I think it'll be a lot better, and you wake up and you're a lot more motivated. But God, can I, like, hopefully relate with someone. Switching your, like, sleep schedule, like sleep, wake up, get up cycle, is horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. I'm generally a night owl. I have always been that way. My parents are that way. I only go to bed when I'm, like, barely exhausted. Obviously, it depends on the day and what you're doing, but I've been getting better actually recently. I'd go to bed at, like, 11, but I could do a couple of stints of, like, 1 a.m. for very many days on ends, maybe just playing video games with my friends, or just going to bed and then be on my phone or watching TV or whatever. So switching to a 6 a.m., and I've never been good at, I feel like if you can relate to me on this one, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're like that and you're a night person, you find it very hard to fall asleep early. And it's hard, especially when you haven't already been getting up early, to be tired, to just lie in bed and be like, yeah, I'm gonna fall asleep. It's not gonna fucking happen. It never fucking happens in the absolute slightest. So I'd just be like, the first night we got up at 6, I was, like, lying there. I was like, oh God, just let me go to sleep. Let me go to sleep, please. Now, in one of my previous jobs, I got up at, like, 6 a.m. for, like, a year. So I know I can do it. It's not actually that hard for me. But just that initial couple of days, do you know what I mean? Like, that first day, or the first 2 days, fuck you over. I woke up and I put on a brave face. Because I was like, I'm not going to look like the weak one out of me and my housemate. I was like, I'm not going to be the grumpy one, the asshole that's annoyed that it's early. I was like, I'll put on my brave face. But I get up and I'm, like, sitting there. I'm like, my head hurts. Everything hurts. I can't see anything. It's dark. It's cold. I was just like, I want to die. And that continued throughout the literal absolute whole day, especially in that gym session. I was like doing my arms, pushing and pulling things, doing those fun things. And I just kept saying to a housemate, I was like, I'm gonna fucking throw up. I'm gonna throw up. I'm gonna pass out. Please help. I was like, just literally at the most minor inconvenience, I had to get up early and go exercise. And it was like, I was like digging through the train. I was like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. But again, if you've done it before, you know that like first day, you just feel like shit because your body's like not used to it at all. It's like, why are we up at this time? Why can't we be asleep? What the hell are you doing to me? You went to sleep a couple of hours ago. This is not our normal routine. I love how your body fights you. They're like, why did you choose to do this to us? But first couple of days were rough. Now, I did not get I'd come home from the gym. My housemate would go to work. That's when I record. I do all my recording. I edit. I get all my stuff done through the day. That's just how I do. But I was like so absolutely and unbelievably tired. I'd get through a couple of recordings, do some editing. And I was like, I'm sitting there editing. I'm like, I can't keep my eyes open. I'm gonna fall asleep. So I was like, you know what I'll do? I'll be nice to myself. And I was like, I'll just curl up and watch a little bit of TV on the couch. I just put something on. I don't even remember what I put on. It's just probably one of those things like The Office, Modern Family. One of those things I've seen like a billion times. And I can just have in the background that doesn't bother me, so I can just maybe like go on my phone. You have that precious like yourself time, you know what I mean, where you just go on your phone, just curl up. You have like your AirPods in, and you can hear them, and you know what's going on. You're paying attention, but you're also not. You're in that mind of your own. I put my phone down, and I was like, yeah, that's fine. We're good. We're gonna watch a little. And this is the point where I was like, I know I need to start like getting to bed early. I'm looking at the screen and I'm like, I don't know how time is flowing anymore. I don't know what time's passing. I'm looking up again, and we're on like a next episode. I'm hearing commentary because again, if you're watching this, I do YouTube commentaries. That's my thing. That's what I do, reactions. So when I watch TV most of the time these days, I don't watch as much movies and TV in my own time. So when I usually do for this, I talk through it, as I do all the time. So I'm sitting on that couch, hearing these commentaries flow through. I was like, am I speaking these out loud? Are they in my head? I don't know. I'm like, where are they coming? Like, I'm not consciously thinking about like commenting or reacting to what's going on in the TV. But I feel like my brain just was like, TV is on, commentary mode on, and my brain's just flowing with thoughts. And I'm like, why am I commentating on something I've seen? And like, not that that's bad, but I was like, just to myself, I'm like, I don't need this. And they just kept flowing. I was like freaking out. I was like, time's passing weird, and I keep commentating to myself. I was like, I don't need my own commentary. I was like, if we're not getting it on record, there's no point of it. So that has been my last week. So if you do watch my YouTube videos and you have noticed I look tired and not all there, that's what's been going on. I have been tired to a fault, and just I think my content has been fine from it. But God, some of those days. Luckily, I think we're like on the second week in-ish now. I'm feeling pretty good. Going to bed a lot earlier. The other day, I think I went to bed at like 9 o'clock. I told my father, I like was talking to him about it. I was like, yeah, I think I went to bed at like 9. He like audibly gasped a little. I was like, yeah, I know. I haven't been to bed at 9 o'clock for about 15 years. I was like, that is not a thing I have done. And he was like, you must have been tired. I was like, yes, thank you. You understand what this means. But just one of those fun things. What else has happened, I hear you say, this week in my life? I got my car serviced. Now, again, every story, like thing I have to talk about, a story, doesn't seem like a big thing. But as a dumb person like me, things become bigger than they are, and I am slightly very dramatic. So everything will be at a 10 when it's like literally a 2 of interesting. But I had to get my car serviced. As you do every like certain amount of Ks or like time of the year, you have to get your car serviced. And I was like, that's fine. But I don't like any car stuff. I am so unknowledgeable. I am dumb, and I know that. It's not my area of expertise. Like, people talk about cars, and I go, yes, steering wheel, wheels, engine. I'm like, I think that's pretty good. I'm dumb. Cars aren't a thing I'm interested in, therefore I don't learn about it. I should, but I don't. So I was like having to talk to these professionals who actually know stuff about what they're talking about. I feel like for me, I'm just like, in my head, I'm constantly like a 13-year-old child. I'm just like shaking in my little boots, like looking up to someone and being like, please, can I book a service? I was like so stressed about, also hate phone calls. Wow, this just shows how like immature I am. But I called up and I was like, can I book a service, please? I don't know how to talk on the phone. She's like, yeah, of course. Like, you know, what's your like details and stuff? And she's like, what service you in for? I was like, the one you're meant to get. She's like, okay, do you have any more information on that? I'm like, the thing in my car says it's time to ring. It's time to ring. And she's like, let me put you on hold. And I'm like, I was like, oh no, I've said something wrong. I've disappointed this lady. I'm so sorry. I was ready to hang up and just like give up and call back again later and try and get someone new. She came back and she was like, yeah, cool. I just had to put some extra details in. I was like, oh my God, why do I dramatize everything in my head? I'm such an idiot. But so the like day rolls around where I have to get my car serviced. And I was like, okay, we have to get there. I think it was an 8:20 appointment. I was like, fantastic. I've been training for this. This goes back to the gym. I'm good at getting up now. So I was like, no problem. It was, like 40-minute drive away. I was like, I'm just going to get up at like 6, half an hour. I was like, I'm going to get up at 6 and go early. I'm that person. Depends what it is, but these days, to like appointment and things like that, with friends and stuff, I can be a bit lax on being strictly on time. But with like an appointment, I'm like, no, I have to be there early because I am stressed about, I'm stressed about the drive, I'm stressed about the appointment, I'm stressed about arriving, I'm stressed about being late. So I have to get there decently early. This one was bad. I'll admit. I got there for an 8:20 appointment. I got to the area at like 7:30 and I was like, what the fuck do I do for an hour? So I just sat on the side, I just parked on the side of the road, listened to music because I didn't want to go in there and bother them, because in my mind, anything that is not purely on the time schedule of other people is such a bother. So I was like, nah, can't do it at all. So I waited, time rolled around, I rolled in, and there's you park your car kind of just in the driveway, but there are these tiny little car parks there. And I was like, I hope I don't have to park in one of those. And I was like, I really don't think so. I hope not, because I'm not the best driver, and they are tiny little spots. So I was like, I'll put that in the back of my mind. Hopefully nothing comes of it. So I go in, I give him the stuff. He's like, oh, what's your rego number? I was like, yes. Does this show? This really shows how absolutely useless I am. I haven't had the car for very long, so I don't know it that well, but I'm pretty sure I got it right. But he's like, I was like, it's this, and he's like, okay. And I was like, to be honest, I have no fucking idea. He's like, that is fine. What is your name? I was like, fine. He's like, can I grab your key off you? I was like, of course. It was, when you've got a key ring and it's on it with a bunch of other stuff, they were all tangled. So this shows the sort of situations that I said earlier that I get myself in. I'm standing there trying to get this key out of the key ring, which is kind of jumbled and hard to do anyway, because key rings suck. We know this. I'm standing there. My hands are shaking violently as I'm trying to get this key off it, because he's just watching me, obviously, because he wants the key. And because I am a nervous person, I'm just absolutely jittering trying to get this key off. I'm like, it's kind of stuck. And he's like, yeah, cool. I was like, I'm trying. I get it off. I give it to him. He doesn't have a care in the world. I love looking back on these situations in my head of how much I freak out and how just fine everyone is about it. So that was fine. He's like, yeah, pick it up at like 1. I was like, great. I've got so many hours of like just sitting around doing nothing. I like caught a train, went and got some lunch because I was like, there was nothing in the area. It's very hard to occupy yourself for just hours upon hours doing nothing. I like got my laptop out. No, if you ever need to do some work, get out of your house, go to a public place that's like nice and safe and comfortable, pull your laptop out, get some work done in a public place. Oh my God, I got some work done because I had no distractions, nothing else. My phone's like dying, so I'm like, well, I won't use my phone. I don't really have internet, so I'm like, I can't like get distracted with any videos or anything. I was like, fantastic, I'll just get stuff done. So real chat, I know why people do all that work in coffee shops now. I understand that vibe completely. So it's like rolls around back to like 1 o'clock when I'm gonna go pick it up. I go back to him. And I'm like, hi, like, is it ready? He's like, yeah, it should be ready soon. It was like half an hour wait. It wasn't that bad. It was air conditioned inside. So I was absolutely so happy. But I had like, while I was waiting, we're going back in the story because I forgot my key pit. I was like, shit, I forgot to like tell them one thing. My car makes this weird sound when I start up. I don't think it's a problem, but I was like, I should ring. I ring up and I'm like, hi sir, I was like, I put my car in earlier and I was wondering if you like could check this one thing. He's like, yep. He's like, what's wrong with it? I'm like, there's this rattly sound. I don't know if rattly is the right word, but it's a jingly. I'm like trying to figure out the words to describe this sound. He's like, does it happen mostly on cold mornings? I was like, fuck, I wasn't prepared for follow-up questions, sir. I barely could tell you what the sound was. He's like, yeah, so like cold mornings, does that want to happen? I was like, I really don't know. It just happens sometimes. I can't tell you. I don't know if it's localized. I literally said, what came out of my mouth was, I couldn't tell you if it's only localized to cold mornings. Why do I sound like an absolute dickhead? I localize? Oh my God. So I embarrassed the shit out of myself saying that. Whether he cared or not is to be determined, but I felt like it was stupid. So we get there, I like pick up my car and I'm like standing there. I'm like, okay, I haven't seen it in this tiny car park, but as if you can relate to me and you're a nervous person, you'll know this. I was like, if they have to put it in the car park, we will rehearse our speech and what we have to say. Because I was going to say, if they put it in this tiny little car park, I'm going to have to ask them to get out of the car park for me. Because I was like, there's no way in hell I'm doing it, especially if any people around are watching. I was like, no, I'm going to be too stressed. And the guy comes down, he's like, oh, hi, you're for this car? And I was like, yeah, yes, please. I'm like thinking about where is it? I'm ready to do my speech. He's like, we parked it on the main road. It's over there. You can go get it. I was like, oh, cool. I was like, relief, sigh of relief came over. I was like, thanks, mate. Oh, I put on my voice where I talk to like, you know, men. I'm like, yeah, thanks, mate. I'll go get it. Have a good one. I just walked off. Just turn the Australian up slightly, voice down low, Australian on. But, oh my God, when those things happen, it's just like weird days that like follow me. I feel like these are my crazy situations when they're actually not that interesting. I just like to dramatize everything. But, couple of other fun things that I have been thinking about. This isn't they've kind of happened over the past couple of weeks, but they're also things that are just fun to talk about. Firstly, Australian Halloween. Halloween was yesterday for us. At the time of recording for America and whoever else follows that time zone, I think it should be Halloween right now, but this won't go up. This will be like a week later. Halloween in Australia is a very interesting thing because, like, I woke up, I saw heaps of, like, celebrities posting their, like, costumes, going to parties and things. And obviously, as a reactor, I've been watching a lot of Halloween movies. If you'd like to go check those out, we did a good couple of fun ones. We did my first time watching the original Halloween. We did Totally Killer, which was a really fun movie with Kieran and Shipka. We did Talk to Me, which had Australian directors and was absolutely fucking terrifying. And if you would like to go watch me have a panic attack for like an hour, you can go there, and it is absolute hell because that movie was terrifying. Really good though. And then last week we did Megan, which was really fun, kind of like a bit of a slay of a movie. She, the killer robot just like, she was working like her angle. She was giving and serving, serving and slaying, if you catch my drift. But yes, so we've been watching the Halloween movies. I've always grown up watching like Halloween movies, scary movies, seeing Halloween stuff in like American movies, because obviously America is the one where you see everything up. And it was Halloween yesterday. So I was like, do I have to buy lol? Also, in Australia, we call them lollies. It's not candy, it's lollies for us. I don't know. It's sweets in the UK, I think. Australia, the generalized word for candy is lollies. So I was like, do I buy some lollies? Do I buy some chocolate? Also, lollies and chocolate, there is a distinction, to me at least. I'd like to make that known. But, so I was like, oh, do I buy some lollies? Because the past amount of years, I have bought lollies, especially like when I lived at my parents' house. We always bought lollies. No one ever showed up. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do it. And as usual, no one shows up. It is just not a thing here, and it's crazy. Like, I remember being so excited as a kid, and my friends and I used to go trick-or-treating all the time. I remember when we used to go around my block as a child, like a good 50% of houses didn't answer the door ever. The other half didn't know it was Halloween and wouldn't have anything to give you. And then the other half would be people who either knew or / had kids / had stuff to give you, or didn't know but still wanted to like help because you're like kids and you're dressed up and it's really sweet. And sometimes it's usually like more your neighbors. I remember getting just like, I'd like walk home and I got $3, a mandarin, an apple, and like 4 butterscotches. And I'm like, yes, what a haul. And then maybe mom or dad would like buy me something. But it was just never a thing here. And I was like, should I buy lollies this year? I was like, probably not. No one's going to show up. I was like cooking dinner. I was like looking out the windows. I was like, no one's around. No one at all. I saw 2 kids with their like dad in like pumpkin outfits. And I was like, oh shit, what if they show up? I don't have anything for them. They didn't come and knock. And then I saw 2 other kids who could have just been hooligans running around doing nefarious children activities, or they were trick-or-treating. I couldn't tell because my eyesight sucks and I had no idea. But they walked off too, and I was like, wow, another year not seeing any trick-or-treaters. And it's kind of sad because I always wanted to live in that kind of like vibe of life where the trick-or-treat. I'd love to spend a Halloween in America, though it kind of scares me because it's a lot there, I assume. But here it's just so dead and not celebrated. And obviously it doesn't have to be. It's not the biggest thing in the world. It just seems like a fun time. I know Australia does have like different like councils and governments and stuff like that will put on like community Halloween events, which I think is really cute and really sweet. I know back near my parents' house, they have one in like near the local supermarket and stuff. I think they have like a community like square. I think no one parks in that car park, and they set up a couple of things and just let kids like get lollies there. And it's like nice and safe. Everyone can like, all parents can bring kids. It's like a cute little area, which I think is really fun. And I think there are a lot of those sort of things which are good to be celebrated. But just like, obviously everything's not going to be like it is in the movies, but I imagine America, there's just fucking kids everywhere, people handing out candy. It's just the best, like parties, dress up. I love a dress up party. Like I'm very, very, very much love a dress up party. Though I always get in my head, as we've seen a bit through this episode, where I'm just like, what do I dress as? I procrastinate, and then I always kind of do a last minute costume. They're usually still okay, but I'm bad at like planning and actually doing stuff. Even though we will see if you watch many of my reactions, some episodes of different things or like final episodes of shows, I will do a dress up now and then. I try my best. But yeah, it's just a weird thing in Australia when you see all this media on Halloween. That it's something that I've always wanted to experience or have like that big Halloween, but it just never happens. But we're going into my next topic, which is a similar on the similar vein, not really, but also kind of, birthdays as an adult. Now, it's similar because my birthday falls on the 26th of October, therefore very close to Halloween. Therefore, I have done many birthday parties of mine in my young adult life as Halloween parties because it vibes, it's really fun. I said I loved a costume party. Now, birthdays as an adult. What a weird thing. I don't know if this is something that everyone relates to. Some people will. A lot of me telling stories is going to be like, do you relate? Because A, audience participation. B, I like to like know that I vibe people. We will relate with each other. But as I've gotten older, I feel like birthdays have just become a really strange thing. I remember like as a kid, just being so excited all the time, like to know your birthday's coming up, to have your birthday. And obviously it's when you get the most presents, have big birthday parties. Like that's kind of, as a child, that's what like a lot of parents strive to like give their kids. It's the fun time. You've got a heap more friends if you're in like primary school, high school, because you're just like surrounded by more people and you don't have to like be an adult and like catch up with each other to keep the friendship. You're just stuck there with people. So you like have more people to invite. And it's the best time. But this year I turned 24. 24 is such a strange age. I was just like, I was thinking about things to do. And I was just like, what can I do? And sometimes it feels like I'm getting old for a house party. I don't know if I feel like I'm at that point of time where I'm like, we should be like going to dinner. But when you have a lot of different friendship groups, you're like, do I want to go to like 8 dinners in a row? Or like, how do you do this? And this year I was just kind of like, do I even want to do anything? Or do I just kind of take one off? Because I was like, do I really want to like organize a party when it's not going to be the best thing anymore? I can't drink like I used to. I'm getting old. Everyone's so busy too. Also, that thing is, when you get older, everyone's busy all the time. And to organize something where all the key people you want, like, to be there, to show up, is hell. I'm like, why does adulting make everything so much worse? Everyone's busy, everyone has lives, everyone's got to be in bed earlier, everyone can't go somewhere because and like get drunk and have fun because you got like commitments the next day. Everyone has things to do and you're just like, well shit, it's too hard to do anything. I was just like, I don't know, is 24 the hill I die on, or with it, like having or not having like something for my birthday? And it also kind of happens to be the thing where you kind of just are like, do I actually want this or not? It's this weird thing. I feel like I could imagine many different ages for many different people. And I assume I might change my opinion next year. Like, that's definitely not out of the question. But I was like, do I even want like a lot of like things for my birthday? Or do I just want to like see my parents, spend time with like a couple of important people, maybe catch up for a dinner here and there over the next month, and just do it small? And that's what I've kind of opted to do. I like, on my birthday day, I went out with my housemate, who's my best friend, and my parents, and I was like, this is nice. We just had dinner and we went home, and then I went to bed because I'd been getting up so early and I was like tired. Because I was like, that's just kind of the vibe I'm going for this year. It's a strange thing, I feel like. And every time I think about, you know, aging and getting older and your birthdays and having fun, it changes a lot from what it was when you were a kid. And obviously that's going to be the case. But it's I want to say it's sad, but it's also not, because I feel like it's sad to lose that like real spark and enjoyment for it. And I think some people, depends who you are. I know some people are real big birthday people, and I'm not that much. I do like celebrating myself, and I do like, the engagement with people. But I was just like, or am I content just spending a time with the people that like are close to you and that matter, and trying to see the people you need to. And obviously on a birthday, it's also a good time. The people who like, a lot of the time, the people who matter are the ones who reach out and be like, let's do something, or even just wishing you a happy birthday, which is really nice. And you hear from people that you haven't spoken to in a while, and it's always a good thing. So I'm like, am I maturing in the fact that I'm getting older and I'm appreciating these like people like reaching out and just spending the small amounts of time with people? I think it's kind of a very nice thing in a way. I hope that's the way I keep looking at it. Depends. Who knows? Next year, I might be like, I'm going to go on a fucking rager and just absolutely party my ass off. Because, 25 is a much more interesting number to also, why do I put such... I'm like 24, no, 25, yes. They're both just ages, but 25 is that nice, like, if you're striving for 100, it's that nice, like, quarter life. But it's a funny thing I've been thinking of a lot, and just like trying to work through myself, like introspection and working on like what I think and what I feel about that. So I think it's an interesting topic to talk about as we get older, because I look at my YouTube analytics. I have a range of different like aged audiences. I think it's just an interesting thing to think and talk about, why, like, how we all feel about this aging. It sucks, right? But I like the vibe of spending that time with important people. But do I miss that, like, getting back and getting on the bevs and like doing that fun young people thing? I think it just really depends on the year, and the time and preparation you want to put into it. But that's my thought on aging. So aging and like adult birthdays. So let me know what you think about that. But I also don't know how long I want to keep these for. But I'm feeling 40-ish minutes is a good one. Also, let me know. We're going back. We're signing this off. But again, if you have any ideas of what you'd like to talk about, like me to talk about, please let me know in the comments. Any questions you have for me, I could do a whole, like, I don't know. Sometimes I'll watch someone for a long time. I love commentary, like people on YouTube. It's one of my favorite things to watch, as well as doing it. So, and there's always like questions I have for like reactors, but because they only do a lot of like reaction and commentary stuff, I would never have the like time to ask. So if there's anything you'd like to know about me, let me know. Put it in the comments. I could do a Q&A podcast. We could do that. That could be interesting. But if you have anything you want me to talk about, questions for me, topics you want me to cover, we can talk about movies and TV here. I'm happy to talk about anything that I've watched. If we want any follow-ups or thoughts on that. I've also thought about maybe doing like a question of the week, one question. Like, I'll probably talk about literally everything if I get any comments, but I know I could do a shout out. That would be fun. I don't know. This is a new thing, and I'm happy to like figure it out together as a group, as a collective. We can figure out how we want this to go. But I think it would be really fun. I really hope you've enjoyed. This has been really fun. I love getting to talk about like sometimes in a commentary that I like want to go on a tangent, and I'm like, no, I gotta like focus on the thing, or I want to talk about something from like life, and I'm like, I'll talk about it as much as I can, but I want to keep to the show and like, keep paying attention. So this is a really fun way to just have a bit of a chat, have a talk, hopefully engage, leave comments about anything. I do not care the slightest. We can have a nice talk down there and talk about it in the next episode. But I hope you've enjoyed. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think on the title, The Garden of Ethan. We're having a fun little pun cringy moment there, but it's been enjoyable getting to talk. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Follow me on any links down below that I've left, YouTube, Twitter. I have a Patreon, which is not podcast, that's not the vibe of it. It's got all my full-length reactions and commentaries over there if you'd like to watch any of those. But for now, I hope you're having a wonderful and fantastic day. I hope to see you in the next one.